How would someone navigate that truly doesn't have anyone else in their corner in their community? I think I often hear from family caregivers, I don't have anyone, right? I don't know their scenario. There are many people who respond back with, yeah, of course, like invite people over, ask for help. But I think there's folks who also say, I don't have anyone to ask.
Okay.
So how do we navigate that group of people?
A couple things come to mind, and the first I would say let's define what that means. What does I don't have anyone mean? Because I could say that, but is that meaning that no one's living with me, nobody's in the area? And I say that because if we can help define what that looks like for that person, we can then brainstorm around, yeah, maybe your family member who lives in Nebraska and you live in Arizona can't be there 24 hours a day, but is there something that we can do to have them support you? Whether it's a phone call, whatever it might be, right? So I would first say, let's define that a little bit just to get a better understanding of the picture. And then what do you need? What is it that you're looking for? Because I think that's important. I think people think that you just want to throw more people at the situation, and that would help. But does it? I mean, it could to a point for sure, because it's always helpful to have more people there. Again, whether it's a family member or a loved one that's helping with the situation, with your caring for your loved one. But even if it's respite or something like that, that'll help for a moment. So what is it that you're needing?
Mm-hmm. That's good. My other question connected to this is how do I, maybe it's not a how, but I often hear family caregivers say things like, I asked for help and people didn't show up, or they bailed, or they let me down. And so I stopped asking for help because I couldn't rely on people. Or, I realized that it's easier for me to just do it because people don't show up for me. I hear that as a common sentiment often, whether it's family members, siblings, close friends, or people you thought would show up. How do we go about that when thinking about balancing the emotions of that while still having to show up for our people living with dementia?
You know what? I think that's a great question, and I do believe people encounter that. I believe they feel that way, and I believe they encounter it. But let's dissect that a little bit more. When people want to help, they may tell you they want to help, but maybe we're not expressing exactly what we need. And if we are expressing exactly what we need and people still don't show up, maybe they don't know how. Maybe they don't know how to help. Even though you're telling them, maybe they're not sure, like maybe they're afraid. I mean, maybe having more of the dialogue and asking them what could be happening. You said you were going to pick up the medications and you didn't. Can you tell me what happened? I mean, is it tactical? Is it more like picking up medication, or is it another help? Like, I just need help. I need you to come over. Okay, but for what? I got it, but exactly what am I going to do when I get there? Let's say it's your mom, which in this case it is your mother. How if I come over to help, what exactly do you want me to do? Because you're caregiving 24 hours a day, so you know it's clockwork what you want to do. But someone coming over and not understanding really what to do, and I'm here now, I'm showing up, but now what? Are we giving people exactly what we want them to do? People like tasks. People like, here's exactly what you do, especially in a situation where you don't understand what's happening. Because most people don't really understand dementia. They know it could be memory loss, they forget things. It's so much more complex than that. It's so much more complex than that, right? And so I think that for the most part, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Most people do want to help. I just don't know if they understand how. Think about it, just in general in life. We always gear towards things that we know, or gear towards things that we know we do well. We don't really gear toward things that we don't know how to do, or that is difficult. We always do the easy things first and the difficult things later. Well, helping someone caregive is a difficult task. And when I don't know what I don't know how I'm supposed to show up. So I'm going to pause there to see if that's helping at all or not.
That was good. And I say it's good because I think often, I'll speak for myself, I carry around a lot of resentment towards family members for not showing up. And hearing you say that, aren't they like getting underneath it? It's more than just like not showing up. It could have been, and my guesses are like, I don't want to see my sister like that. I don't know what to do when I do come. What do you mean show up? What do you want me to do? And it's like as the caregiver, in the thick of things, I'm like, well, just show up. I'm here all the time. Of course, you know what I mean? But I'm not saying specifically what I might need, right? Or like in the moments when it's interesting when I asked my family members to do something, a specific discrete task, they came and did it. And it was like, okay, great, goodbye. And it's like oh, light bulb. We as family caregivers, we actually have to be clear about what we might want or need. We have to take the time to articulate so that people know how to show up, right? I think that where people get stuck is that we don't take the time to explain. And then when people don't show up, it just continues to build. And then when something happens, that's when caregivers snap because it's like,
Yeah.
all just piled on top of each other. And so what I actually am taking away from what you shared is like there's a responsibility on both sides. My personal belief though is that my responsibility should be a little bit less since I'm the one that's caregiving, but
Right.
still I have to be
Right.
responsible to articulate it, and the other person has to like, I would say, ask questions to get underneath like, so what do you mean, what do you want, like so that they can be really clear too. But this is a hot topic, and I actually think the not being clear and also the not asking follow-up questions is what keeps people in limbo from really getting the support that they need and deserve.
Exactly, and I would invite people to this is really important because you know what, there are moments that you just want, you know what, I don't want to have to ask, just come and help me. So I don't want to dilute that piece of it because I can only imagine how frustrating it is. So I don't want to make this Pollyanna like, oh, just ask what. So I got that piece right. But I also think that there's something called cognitive dissonance, and what that is when our cognition it's in disagreement, right? And so as a dementia caregiver, we're in, as just as a caregiver in general, but we're only speaking about dementia right now, is around that disagreement with the needs that we're feeling. All human beings, we all have needs all the time. And when you're in this situation, you have your emotional needs, right, which is part of that grieving and blah, 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 all that emotional stuff. And then we have the tactical stuff, which is I need someone to help go to the grocery store or pick up meds or, you know what I mean, whatever it might be. So that's why when you say, I just need help, here's the why. For what? Why, what is it about that? Why do you need that help? Is it emotional that you're looking for? Is it someone like, thank you so much for taking care of mom? You know, how are you doing? Is it that? Or is it the tactical stuff? You just, you know what, I'm going to be here with mom for like 3 hours or 3 days. Go ahead and go off. What is it? That's what I'm saying. What is exactly that you're wanting? And sometimes we don't know because we think we want the tactical, but sometimes there's so much emotional, you only have so much emotional bandwidth, right? There's only so much that a person can give. And so at that moment, sometimes you don't want to or can't articulate the emotional aspect of what we need. And I think sometimes that's when we just kind of throw the red flag, like, you know what, you guys are not being very nice. You know what I mean? Like, help me. And I think that's more the emotional end of it than the tactical would be my thought as you're doing this.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that for sure. I also think when it comes to dementia, to your point around like people not understanding or knowing or assuming that it's just the short-term memory loss, when in reality, like part of me is like, it's so much more than short-term memory loss, or people will say, well, I don't want to come because they might not remember me. And it's like, but it's actually not even about you, right? It's actually because I, the caregiver, need help. Or like the person with dementia actually would really love to just feel your presence because they still feel your energy. And so I think some of it too is being let down by people who don't want to step into the realities of this disease. And so instead of trying, they just say no, which I think leads to this feeling of abandonment, loneliness, right? Like feeling isolated as the family caregiver, because it's like, well, for me, I didn't have a choice to walk away from this. So I'm only asking you to come over for dinner and you're choosing not to do that. Like that frustrates me, right? Like, so I give up on this relationship, right? Like on top of all the other things that I'm probably like holding on to.
Right, exactly. And I love what you said because that's where most of my career has been. It's not that I don't care or don't want to help the person with dementia. I do. And I applaud my colleagues for finding treatments and cures and going for all of that. I love it. My focus has always been on the caregiver. You know why? Because I, as a psychologist, can't make an impact on that person, on the person with dementia. Unfortunately. Now I can make an impact on that person with dementia indirectly if I help the caregiver. If we help the caregiver, whether it's with different trainings and education on how you approach someone, understanding that different kinds of dementia that are out there, it affects a different part of the brain, therefore the reaction, the behavior, which I call reaction, could be coming from the type of dementia they have or the other ailments that they have. So I think helping the caregiver is really where we need to focus a lot of our energy, and I don't think our industry has done that very well. I think we're getting there. I think influencers like yourself, I think people are realizing like, hey, we need to help the caregivers. That is what we need to do. And that's where you and I'm so grateful you're part of this journey with us, because this is where we align so well, is because we know it's about the caregiver.